Hi guys, it's your girl Treasure the Advisor, and today I'll be telling you how to set healthy boundaries.
Finesse and I had to do it. My dog was like Shag and Scooby. Just might let your daddy chew it. How you get hit for no money? But say put your bag into it. Ay, I live my life on the run, like it's an action movie. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm making this video because I feel that a lot of people do not set boundaries in their life, and I think that this is because of your upbringing. That when you're small, you're taught that children should be seen but not heard, and a lot of people grow up in a household where there's no actual boundaries, or you can't tell the difference between a boundary. So the reason I decided to talk about this is I think that in life, human need this thing called boundary to feel safe and secure and move on in their life. So in case you're wondering what are boundaries, I would say boundaries is a technique used to place, to give you personal space. So boundaries, it would be something that a rule you have for yourself that you want other persons to obey or respect in order for you to feel valued and feel secure and safe. It is something that I would say that builds up your self-esteem and makes you feel very, very comfortable in life. I want to talk about the different type of boundaries, such as parental boundaries and personal boundaries, and workplace boundaries, and I would say school boundaries too. I want to talk about all of that. The first one I think is more important is the personal boundaries, where a lot of people fail to realize it is the most important thing because it helps you protect your mental health. So I realized that when I was younger, I never had personal boundaries. I may have a one or thing or two, the basic don't touch you certain places and stuff like that. But just to actually set a good schedule of boundary and stick to it, to have your own, I would say, your own rule about how you want others to treat you, how you want to be respected and stuff like that. Because I think that respect is something that is so important in life. I don't think many people understand this, and we are all human beings, and I realize that many people do not understand that, hey, we are all human beings, and what you do not want for yourself, you do not do unto others, because everything humans do is considered normal. The only time we consider it abnormal is if there's high risk. But I'm letting you, every reaction to a stimuli is considered normal. And this is something that I realize that people struggle with. Like, they struggle with understanding people, like understanding that not everybody's gonna become like them, not everybody's gonna think like them, and people are usually a product of their environment. So you all realize this, as that if somebody grew up in a Spanish-speaking country, they will grow up speaking Spanish. If somebody grew up in a Muslim country, they will grow up they would grow up being a Muslim. And a lot of people do not understand that you cannot force your beliefs, values, norms, and so on onto others. So the first boundary that you should create is time. Do not let people hit you up anytime they feel like, because humans are humans. We like to test boundaries. I do it too. Like, people like to test boundaries. That's how humans are. You like to test how far somebody will allow you to go. And I think this is something that a lot of people do not understand, that humans are humans and people will always be people. So if you have a country that doesn't have the laws in place, people are going to push it and take it a joke because there are no consequences of their action. And that's how humans are. That's how they are. Do not let people text you whenever they want, because I realized this thing where I never set a time where I'm free to contact people. And I realized that people never valued me as a person because they knew they could contact me anytime they want. And I think this is basically social psychology, where scarcity. If somebody is not seeing you often, they will start to value you. If somebody is not hearing from you often, they will start to value you. That's how humans are. And as somebody, even you know the thing that they say play hard to get. Although nowadays I don't think that people play hard to get anymore, because that's the straight harassment. So like a lot of men think that, I think that's a high school thing where you play hard to get, and you know, but that don't make no sense, because sometimes us women are not playing hard to get, we just are not interested. But that's a cool idea. But I think that people should cut this out, because it's making people harass people. Like, it's making men harass people. But I know that people will always be people. So if you feel comfortable with playing hard to get, that's so. The thing about time is that even when you're dating, if your partner can hit you up anytime and you reply anytime, they tend to not value you as a person and tend to ignore you after a while. And I remember having people in my inbox, and I'm wondering why the hell they don't leave me alone. Why the hell you're still interested to talk to me? Why the hell you know, you talk to somebody and they stay forever? And I found out that the reason they're staying in my life forever are not, I don't know if that's forever, I wouldn't say forever, but the reason they are still in my life is because I do not recognize them as much as, you know. So that's what I call about. You take the time. So if somebody wants to talk to you and it's not urgent, say, hey, okay, I'm free on Wednesdays, I'm free on Thursdays, I'm free on Fridays. Even if you're free every day, just set a day that you want to contact people. Set a day that you want to text people. Because that's something that is healthy. It's called preserving your own energy. Another thing is the normalizing that you do not need to explain yourself to people. I know I have the habit of trying to explain myself to people. And when you start to understand that people will never understand, like people have different experiences, different knowledges, different education in our background, different upbringing. And people will never understand you. You may feel like, oh, they understand you fully. They may understand you partially, but people will never understand you. And let's normalize. Do not over-explain yourself. Do not have to explain yourself all the time. And I think that this is something that happens a lot, especially in schools, you know, where you're forced to do everything. You're forced to not have your own opinions. And I'm hoping that I graduate quickly, because my school is giving me hell. You know, not being able to express myself, not being able to, you know, be understood and respected as a person, to say, oh, I'm a human being. It doesn't mean that I'm evil. It does not mean that I'm possessed. I'm just a human being. Here is something I want to talk about so bad. I was saying that do not discuss your sex life with anybody, because people and they always say do not discuss politics, do not discuss religion, do not discuss sex, and do not discuss your paycheck. So all of those things should be kept to you only. So yeah, I realize that whenever you say something that about your belief and your norms and value, it causes conflict and it causes war. Because people just don't understand that, hey, I mean, I'm a human being. I'm gonna like different things. Okay, so here's another one. Do not impose your beliefs onto others. And I think that others shouldn't be do not allow people to impose their beliefs onto you, because beliefs are beliefs and not actual facts. Beliefs are built on superstitions, are suspicions, and you know, facts are built on evidence. So do not impose your beliefs onto others. It will not work. People, you cannot force people to believe what they do not want to believe. That's how humans are. We have our own cognitive development, our own likes, and you have to learn to understand that not many people will like what you like. And I know a lot of people like to try to change people, but I will let you know that you cannot change people. People may hide a part of them that you do not like, but they don't really change. They just learn to hurt, because you know your personality is inborn. So a lot of people like to try to change people and be like, oh, you know, but did you know that when you start to criticize something that about somebody or what they like, their beliefs, their values, and their norms, the person doesn't really stop believing in the stuff or liking the stuff that they do. The person does simply stop liking you. You know this thing that says, oh, do not tell people your business or tell people your personal life, because people are going to judge regardless. And the reason for the judgment is that people do not understand. As I said before, people do not understand. So when you tell somebody something and they're not used to hearing those things, especially, it's called scarcity. If you tell somebody something and nobody normally tell them anything, they're gonna get up and tell your business to somebody else because nobody tells them anything. And if nobody tells them anything, then you know what's up. But usually when somebody doesn't really hear much of people's problems, they tend to get up and speak your problem. Let's talk about the ratio. If somebody hears about 100 problems every day, your chances of them selling your business will be low because they probably won't remember your business. Yeah. But if they just hear your business every day, the chances are they will tell your business. It's also called the scarcity, and that's just basically human beings. Another boundary that you set is that you do not allow people to come at your home whenever they want. If the person come at your home, I'm sorry, but if you come to my home and I did not invite you, you are expecting to see the door closed for as long as possible. If you call me, you won't hear me. And if you hear the TV on, you just know that, yeah, I'm not coming. And if you see me in the house, I'm not coming out there to you. Because I'm a person that do not like being around people. It's not that I'm stuck up. It's not that I think I'm better than anyone, but I am just, that's just who I am as a person. I will socialize with people, but when it comes to being around people and like trying to get close to people, that ain't me. Because growing up, I was never really close to people because I suffered from bullying as a child, and it's just hard for me to get close to people. So yeah, so sometimes people would want to, sometimes you see a person and you want to force them to go out. But I was saying that do not allow people to force you, and that's another boundary. Do not force people to do things that they do not want to do, especially adults. Do not try to control somebody's life. Everybody have their own life to live. Another boundary I would say is that do not allow people to, I think it's a thing that a lot of people don't get, that people's clothes are actually their way of expressing themselves. And when you come and try to they miss somebody's clothing and stuff like that, it is very rude. And I don't know if there's a law for that. I would say that's harassment, trying to come to somebody and tell them about their clothing. And I was saying that the boundary is that you don't go up to people, and you shouldn't allow people to come up to you and disrespect you like that and tell you about your clothing. Like you didn't ask for it, and you didn't ask for their opinion, and then they tell you. So that's not a boundary you should set. Like, try to let people know that, hey, I don't need your opinion. When it comes down to parental boundary, a lot of parents don't understand how important it is for children to have boundaries. Like, they think that, oh, their kids, they don't know what they want, they don't know what they're doing. But it does leave a scar on people, because remember that everything that happens as a person when you're a child is going to predict their future. And I don't think that many people realize that, like, every single thing that happens to a child under the age of 18 will be what will predict their future outcome when they get older. Because remember that the mind is still changing, the brain is still training, and especially in the teenage years when they're trying to find themselves, the identity versus role confusion, and in the psychosexual way, where I think that yeah. So in the teenage years, when the child is trying to find their identity, they start to rebel so they can try to reach their they're trying to reach their audience, like they're trying to understand themselves more. And this is where you call the rebellion stage, where teenagers rebel, and that's completely normal. And a lot of people don't think that it is normal, but it is actually completely normal. And what happens when a child doesn't find their identity, when they become adults, they become confused. So when they become adults, they are easily persuaded. They can't think for themselves. And a lot of parents do not understand these things about teenagers, and it's a big thing. So allowing your child to be themselves and to express themselves and to choose their what they want, choose their subjects, choose things for themselves, like letting them make their own decision is actually a big thing for them. Another thing about parental boundary is that a lot of parents don't believe that children should have their own room. Like I see it is prevalent in Jamaica, where a lot of people are chucked up into one room. A lot of children are chucked up into one room, and a lot of parents do not think that it is affecting them, but it does affect them, especially in a way, especially girls, where they don't have their privacy. So they tend to feel that a lot of things is normal. Like it is normal for people to see their private area and themselves. So they tend to not know healthy boundaries. So I was saying that allowing your child to have their own room and try your best to let the child have their own room is very important in their life, because it helps them to build the sense of privacy and security. Another thing about parental boundary is that you knock when you're coming into your child room. And a lot of Jamaican people will be like, oh, I can just barge in because it's my house. But it will cause your child to hate you. It will cause your child to rebel, because at that moment they want to feel valued, they want to feel important, and how you treat your child is how other persons will treat your child. Making decisions for your child, like making every decisions for your child, and this is something that I wouldn't condone, because it makes children very dependent on people opinion, and they cannot think for themselves, and it just makes people easily persuaded into stuff. It makes them gullible. It makes them easily respond to peer pressure. So allowing your child to think for themselves and to have their own decisions will help them to fight peer pressure. Because when you continue thinking for your child will just start to listen to others people and be, because they're used to you thinking from that for them. So allow your child to think for themselves. And another thing that I realized is the phone searching, where a lot of parents feel that, oh, if I search their phone and stuff like that, and if I harass them, it will make them stop doing illegal stuff. It doesn't stop. They're just gonna try to find somewhere in their phone to hide their dirty deeds. That's how children are. Like, instead, let them come to you and tell you what is going on. Like I said, okay, I understand that you're a teenager. I understand that you need your personal space. But I want to let you know that if anything should happen that you are uncomfortable with, come to me and I'll solve the problem. No matter how angry I am with you, at least let me know what is going on so we can solve the problem. Because sometimes children do not want to come to you because they think that the problem is big and gigantic. And when they tell it to you, you'll be like, oh, so that's what you're worried about. Because children don't really understand certain things. So let your child come to you as a person and tell you certain things that is going on in your life. Especially when it comes on to sexual things. Such as what is going on with down there and stuff like that. Let them be allowed to come to you, and you help to prepare them, because sometimes when you tell them to not do something, it makes them want to do it more. So a lot of people don't understand that the reason their child come out a certain way is because of the parenting strategy that they use. And it's not that I'm saying that, oh, you're a bad parent, because nobody has it all figured out. But sometimes when you push certain things too much, it starts to make your child try to react and enact the behavior. So just allowing your child to have their own personal space and letting them know, okay, I understand that you're a child. I understand that you need a personal space, but please, if anything is going on that is suspicious or anything, just let me know. And you should be able to pick up on cues on when something is going on with the child. So if you see your child sleeping a lot, don't be like, oh, just lazy. Because sometimes it's just depression taking over. A lot of people like to think that, oh, it's in their head. But I'm telling you that depression is actually real. So be able to know your child as a person, try to spend as much time with your child. So, and let them know that they can come to you if anything. Like, it may go against your beliefs, norms, and values, but at the end of the day, everybody have their own life to live, and you cannot really force things onto people. So here's the thing that I hear a lot about this my house, my rule thing. Have you ever tried to flip the script on yourself and see how you feel? Like when some parents said, as if you like a certain thing, you can't come in my house. Or if you are a certain, I understand when you want peace and stuff like that, but if it has something to do with a child's identity, you're gonna have a lot of problems fighting with that child. So let's say that your child comes home and suddenly become a Muslim or Buddhism or Judaism or Hinduism, and you decided that you do not like that, so you try as much as possible to punish them to get it out of them. But what you don't understand, that when they try to suppress something into somebody, it starts to be something that they get more interested in. But if you just ignore it, they'll just drop the religion and move on. That's how people are. Children like to experiment. People like to experiment. So if you just ignore the whole religion thing and those stuff, they'll drop it after a while. But if you keep pushing it, they're more likely to hold on to it to annoy you. And I would say that, tell you what, imagine yourself going to a country and they say that if you don't worship their God, you cannot, you cannot eat, you cannot be clothed, you cannot feel safe. How would you feel? It's the same thing. So when a Muslim person come into your country, do not impose your belief onto them. It just respect the fact that it is their belief, their values, their norms. Do not impose it onto them, because the way how you would feel if you go to their country with your religion and they reject you and make you feel uncomfortable is the same way that they would feel. So in everything you do, just try to put yourself in your shoe. Would I want this to happen to me? You probably say yes and no, but try to change the subject. Try to say, okay, if I was this and I go to that area, would I want somebody to treat me like that? No. I forgot to mention this one about the health boundaries, where people feel the need to tell you what their health concerns is. I think that this is something that should be kept private, about your health. I don't think that anybody should share it with other persons, because people, when ignorance is bliss, and ignorance can make people do crazy stuff. And the thing about it is that if you never tell somebody something, they would still be talking to you and they would not know. So that's the thing about ignorance and uneducated and stuff like that. So I would say that not disclosing, let's normalize not disclosing your health conditions. Like, you do not have to let people know that, oh, you have this. Just let them respect your decision. If you do not want to eat sweets, you do not want to eat sweets. You do not have to explain to them, oh, hey, I have this, I have that. You just learn to respect people's decision. So that's it, guys, about the setting healthy boundaries. And I think that is something that I want to talk about too much, because I struggled with it too when I was younger, and people just walk over you. So yeah.